There's something about North Korean Olympic athletes that fascinates the outside world. And in the latest case, Paris 2024 has already presented a few intriguing North Korea-related moments. With the North skipping the Tokyo Olympics in 2021 due to COVID-19, Paris 2024 has been the first Summer Games since Rio 2016 for us to see North Korea in action. And one of the interesting aspects has been the way the Paris Olympics has reflected North Korea's negative attitude towards South Korea. For instance, North Korea would normally have used the Olympic broadcast feed from South Korea, but Pyongyang is understood to have negotiated its own broadcasting rights for Paris 2024. And given the North's unwillingness to cooperate with Seoul in other areas, it seems Pyongyang is avoiding having anything to do with South Korean counterparts. As for North Korean media coverage of the Olympics, it's been limited, starting with the opening ceremony, which the Norodong Shinmun newspaper simply described as distinctive. There was no comment on the controversy of South Korea's team being introduced as North Korea. And one of the issues that's been highlighted in South Korea is the refusal of North Korean athletes to answer mixed zone questions from South Korean reporters, even when they've been willing to engage with reporters from other countries. That said, there have been some moments that have broken through the frosty inter-Korean mood. Perhaps most prominent among these was the iconic image in the making taken on the podium after the table tennis mixed doubles event. North Korea's Lee Jung-sik and Kim Geum-young took silver ahead of their bronze-placed South Korean counterparts, who then took a selfie of them all together with Team China. Consider also that all the phones being used by athletes on the podiums are Samsung devices. And there have been other less visible interactions too. For instance, the South's Im Hae-ji talked about the encouragement she received from her North Korean boxing counterpart Bang Chul-mi while they were training in the Olympic Village. You might say that in these kinds of cases, North Koreans are not hostile to fellow athletes from South Korea, as has also been demonstrated by similar moments at previous Olympic Games and even joint Korean teams. But what about North Korea's performance at Paris 2024? The North hasn't won any gold medals so far, at least at the time we're recording this, but they have only 16 athletes taking part, by far their smallest ever Summer Games athlete group. And 5 medals so far at Paris 2024 is a very decent haul, close to their average over 10 Summer Games appearances since Munich 1972. And among those successes, the North has won its first ever diving medals. Kim Mi-rae and Jo Jin-mi took silver in the women's synchronized 10-meter platform event, while Kim also won bronze as an individual diver. Also, in addition to the table tennis silver and a wrestling bronze for Ri Se-eung, Bang Chul-mi's bronze was North Korea's first Olympic boxing medal in 20 years and the first ever for a female boxer from the North. And then remember that North Korean athletes would have been hit more than most by the pandemic. The nation was suspended from competing by the International Olympic Committee until the end of 2022 for refusing to send athletes to the Tokyo Games. That would have put a dent in the North's development of elite athletes. North Korea has traditionally focused on sports in which it can do well, like weightlifting, although there are no weightlifters from the North in Paris, and the North Korean regime recognizes the importance of sports for raising national pride, getting the rest of the world to pay attention and even engage diplomatically, as we've seen in the past. To achieve success, they focus on children with potential and develop them, as happens in many other countries. For example, An Chang-ok, who came fourth in the vault event in Paris. But that's still a very strong finish, and she's a gymnastics star who won 2 gold medals at the last Asian Games. She's now 21, but she was reportedly spotted dancing well when she was attending kindergarten, and that was enough to demonstrate her potential. North Korea also holds regional competitions, and once potential stars are identified, they'll be given opportunities to develop in specialized institutions in Pyongyang, which is itself a major honor. National athletes will also have an elevated social status, including for their whole families. They'll have access to better food and better living conditions generally. And we've also seen an intensification of sports interest over the last decade after Kim Jong-un took power. Known to be a big sports fan, Kim established the State Sports Guidance Committee in 2012. He's increased funding for sports above several other areas of life, setting out a plan to build North Korea into a sports power. He sought to overcome sanctions blocking North Korean imports of recreational sports equipment by modernizing domestic production, stressing the need to produce equipment that can help both professional athletes and popularize sports nationwide. And when you think of sports like diving, they require specialized pools and platforms. Kim Mi-rae and Jo Jin-mi clearly have sufficient access. Kim said during Paris 2024 that they work hard from morning to afternoon at a training center in Pyongyang. And by the way, you may notice that many of these athletes are women. At Paris 2024, North Korean female athletes outnumber their male counterparts 3-1. So there doesn't appear to be discrimination against developing elite female athletes. But what about discrimination against failure? It's true that Kim Jong-un has spoken of his desire to bring glory to the country by winning gold medals, but that doesn't mean reports of severe punishment for missing the mark are true. In fact, sometimes we see North Korean athletes fail to medal and then reappear at subsequent competitions, which would be hard to do if they'd been sent to a prison camp, as has been claimed. It's more that you need to be a champion to enjoy the honors the North lavishes upon its sports stars. Even before Paris 2024, Hang Chul-mi had earned the title People's Athlete after becoming a world champion in 2018. That is the North's highest sporting honor, and being honored as a sports star would mean even higher social status, a nicer home, perhaps a luxury foreign car. For those who are deemed to have failed, they might have to undergo self-criticism sessions, according to analysts, and generally athletes will be debriefed after being exposed to Western athletes and customs at events like the Olympics. And they certainly are being exposed. Aside from those selfies, there's been a lot of attention on An Chang-ok's interactions, including swapping pins, which has become a huge tradition at the Olympics. The North Korean pins have actually become highly coveted, with former Olympian and American tennis legend Serena Williams insisting she would never ever trade hers. And with those interactions, it changes perceptions, at least of individual North Korean athletes. But I might add that North Korea itself is not devoting huge attention to this Summer Games. State media reported on silver medals in table tennis, mixed doubles and diving, but has not been making the most of its broadcasting rights. And perhaps with its rising relationship with Russia gaining strength all the time, the North doesn't want to make too much of a show of the Olympics while Paris 2024 is ongoing, given that Russia is barred from participating. Yet we shouldn't take that as a sign that Pyongyang isn't interested. As we've seen, sports are a big deal in North Korea. And if you've liked one particular performer, or you've got particular hopes for North Korean sports going forward, or you want to comment on anything related to this or make suggestions for future Looking North content, please get involved on this channel. Like, comment, share, subscribe, all the usual requests. Thank you very much for watching.